Welcome to Palm Harbor Local, where we bring you inspiring stories from the heart of our community. I'm your host, Donnie Hathaway, and today we are joined by David Vargas, who is the owner and founder of Veteran Laser Works and the founder of Pinellas County Veterans Association. Now our show is all about celebrating those who've put in the sweat, overcome the hurdles, and still find time to give back to the community. If you want to be inspired by how they got started, what keeps them going, and what they're doing to make Palm Harbor even more awesome, you're in the right place. In today's talk with David, you'll learn why he decided to randomly join the United States Air Force, the veteran projects that he's currently working on for the community, and what to expect and how to get involved in the Palm Harbor Hero Fest on May 17th in downtown Palm Harbor. Now be sure to follow us on Instagram at Palm Harbor Local for behind the scenes content and join our weekly newsletter at palmharborlocal.com. Let's go meet David. David, thanks for being here on the podcast, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you. We've had a few conversations before, but let's start with your background, right? So you're, like we were just talking about, you're retired Air Force.
Yes.
Why did you want to join the Air Force?
Oh, it's ironic. I wasn't even thinking, military never even really crossed my mind. I was one of those people where, ironically, growing up, I already did some of those things. I was always ironing my clothes, fixing my bed. I was that guy going through a school. A lot of my friends had some family members in the military, but mostly it was my friends. And I almost went into the Marines. I almost went into the Army. Then I wound up at the Air Force. Because my best friend was Air Force.
Okay.
So I took a ride with him to Anchorage, Alaska, Elmendorf Air Force Base from Little Rhode Island. And that's when I realized, I think I'll do the Air Force. Plus, I realized the food and the billeting was a hell of a lot better. So
yeah.
And that was it. It was just, I like to joke about it to say I found a place that they force people to do what I already do.
Yeah.
So the military was pretty easy for me. It was pretty easy for me at the beginning.
So were your parents strict or like detailed and like teaching you all those things? Is that just something like you picked up?
It was just, Mom always kept the house super clean, of course, so that kind of stuck in. But some of those things that were brought into you don't really kick in until you're an adult. And you start realizing, hindsight be 20/20, that it all came from somewhere. But it was just what I did, Didn't know no one was really diagnosed with ADD back then. Wasn't
That's
a thing.
funny. Yeah. And so you drive to Alaska.
Yeah.
And you're like, I think I'll join the Air Force.
Yeah, yep. After I left Alaska, I was moved down to California because that's where my sister was at the time. And then they were like, hey, what are you going to do now? I'm like, I started just entrepreneur stuff. And I really said, I'm going to join the military. So I made my way back to Rhode Island. And then that was it. Just signed up went to all recruiting stations.
Yeah.
That's when I really said, well, before I signed the line at the Air Force, let me double check. Let me look at the Marines, because who doesn't want to have a sword and a great uniform? Mm-hmm. A band of brothers. And then I looked around the Army, and then they kind of talked to me more about the schooling, and I started looking at what I wanted to do when I got out of the military, like in the civilian world. And it came down to the Army and the Air Force as far as the schooling of what they had. And that was it. So Air Force won. And I do joke, but it was the truth because, they just had better food at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They really did.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately what happened. So,
What did you do in the Air Force? What was your job?
Communications. So
okay.
Wideband radar, satellite systems communications. So basically you set up 20-foot parabolic dishes, you acquire satellites, send signals, stuff like that. Did that for the first 4 years, and then when I went over afterwards, I switched over, I was in National Guard, and went to disaster preparedness, which is kind of like FEMA in real world, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You have a thing in the military called MOP levels, MOP level 1, 2, 3, and 4, so that's when you see, in movies, you see them wearing their chemical gears.
Yeah.
Some of the time you're fully geared up. Sometimes you just have it on your side. So it's those levels. So if an alert goes off, there's a mushroom cloud somewhere, and you have to kind of figure out trajectory, wind, what's the turf, or stuff like that, without impeding the mission. Just got to figure out at what level you have to keep them all prepared, stuff like that.
Okay.
But I was in the National Guard at that time, so really it was a lot simpler for me.
Yeah.
It was more of a one-man shop instead of a 50-man shop.
Okay.
So the school was long, it was really tough, but it served for a good career.
Yeah. Do you travel a lot?
Not with the military, believe it
Okay.
or not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I had my options to, of course. I chose not to. I stayed basically all stateside, other
Okay.
than going to Alaska.
Yeah.
But I stayed stateside for the most part, and I traveled. I did more traveling on my own than I did with the military.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once I got into National Guard, it was just you're still a civilian.
Yeah.
So I just hit the road
Yeah.
as long as I was back for that 1 month of guard duty, that week, 1 week in a month.
Mm-hmm.
But I traveled everywhere.
Yeah.
I was definitely a nomad.
So what brought you to, so you mentioned like Rhode Island. What brought you to Palm Harbor?
Well,
How long have you been here?
Well, I've been to Florida now. This is going on 12 years, I believe. 11
Okay.
years, 12 years.
Okay.
And I have family that's been in Jacksonville and the east coast of Florida, down like Melbourne, Brevard County area for, at this point, like 40-something years.
Okay.
Navy family, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've been coming back and forth to Florida for decades for family. But I moved my mother out here about 20-something years ago. And then when I got tired of Rhode Island, it was done. My son was already on his own. He's 29 now, but when he was on his own as a grown man doing his things, I said, all right, time for me to go. So I just came down here.
Yeah.
And I started off in Brevard County, was out there for about 7 years. Had a friend, had an opportunity up in Jacksonville. So I said, sure, why not? I have family up there. Let's go see what's going on in Jacksonville. Nothing against Jacksonville. I'm just, some places just don't work for you.
Yeah.
And if I wanted that type of environment, I could have been in Orlando, a little bit more city area, but it wasn't really for me. And that was it. I was in Jacksonville for 2.5 years, and it was pretty miserable for a little while because all I did was work 6 days a week, and I was able to sign up for this rodeo.
Yeah.
And then, little by little, I've had friends out this side, mainly down in St. Pete and Clearwater and whatnot. Handful of friends up in this neck of the woods.
Okay.
And I would come visit once a month, birthdays, stuff like that, and I was like, oh, what's next on the list? And I came out here. And then as soon as I came out here, which was now going 3.5 years ago, landed in Palm Harbor. I mean, we don't have time for it, but the details of how I got here and the home, the first place I went to, the realtor dropped the ball right when I was already packed. I had everything. I literally had my license changed over. I had utilities turned on. Mailing was set. Everything was set for this one location in Dunedin. And 2 days before I left Jacksonville to come here, I was told that they basically dropped the ball with the HOA, blah, 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 blah. Didn't work out. I said, well, figure it out. You have 2 days to figure it out because that's when I hit the road.
Yeah, crazy.
And then I magically wound up here. They said, oh, I have found a place for you in Palm Harbor. I checked it out, and I just fell in love with this town.
Yeah.
Like, energetically, when I put my feet on the ground, I felt home.
Yeah.
And I've traveled everywhere. And this is the first place I felt home.
Interesting.
Yeah, very much so.
What is it about about Palm Harbor that makes it feel home to you? Investing is extremely important, but it can also be somewhat confusing. With taxes, asset allocation, stocks, bonds, and funds, to know what to do with all this could be overwhelming. Jacob Wade is a financial coach and will work directly with you to put together a roadmap for your money, for life. Jacob has built a name for himself as a finance expert, and you can find his writings in places like Forbes Advisor, Money.com, Investopedia, and Time.com. But he has a passion for helping people create a clear and simple investment roadmap to buy back their time and retire with confidence. If you could use a financial coach on your team, then simply go to palmharborlocal.com/roadmap to book a call with Jacob today and see if hiring a financial coach could help you crush your 2025 goals. Don't wait to have that same feeling next year of not hitting your financial goals. Connect with Jacob today and let's make 2025 your best financial year yet.
I don't know. It's like I said, it's energetically.
Yeah.
I just felt comfort. I just felt like it was the right decision. I just felt really comfortable here. You know, Jimmy Buffett style. I was instantly looking at golf carts for months. I was looking at golf carts, and I had to get over the other side of Belcher in order for that to happen, right? So, but I was just I needed to get the golf cart. But I just fell in love with it. I actually left Palm Harbor, went at Newport Richie for a little bit, and I realized my energy level just went down.
Yeah.
Not personal energy, just as far as, quality of life, stuff like that. You know, aura, if you say.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I came back to Palm Harbor, everything went right back up again.
Yeah.
So I was, this is where I'm going to just make my roots. And that's big because out of all the places I've lived, I never wanted to make roots. Even when I was over in Brevard County, I was there 6-7 years, and never once did I think about making roots.
Did you like it there in Brevard County too?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. But, it was that thing of I'm living here. I was enjoying it, going out, doing things, but I wasn't involved in the community like I am here, or like I was back up north. I just wasn't, I didn't care about getting involved in the community. I was just living, enjoying Florida.
Yeah.
Out here, I dug in, and I said, all right, time to make roots, and I dug into the community, and, I loved it.
Yeah.
So it just grows from there.
So is that feeling of being home here in Palm Harbor, like that's what allowed you to be like, okay, let me
100%.
learn more about the community, let me get involved and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Never had that feeling any other place you lived.
California,
Crazy.
Mississippi.
Oh yeah, we're at
Upstate
Mississippi.
New York, Buffalo, Syracuse, the other places I actually physically lived.
Yeah.
None of them felt like home.
Okay.
That's why I just knew it when I knew it.
Yeah. Crazy.
So
Crazy.
don't know what it is about this town, but it got into me.
Yeah. I love it. All right, so you have a business, Veteran Laser Works.
Veteran Laser Works, LLC, yes.
What do you do for that?
It's a laser engraving and design company. So by trade, one of my degrees is in graphic design, and just always I'm a lefty, I'm a Pisces, however you want to look at it. I'm artistic, and I've always dabbled in there. I did my drawings and whatnot, but once I found lasers, which that was a funny story. I had a laser engraver, a little hobby laser engraver I had for years, working on, doing lasering for guns and stuff like that, different business that I had before, and it just collected dust. And then I came out here, and one of my best friends said, "Hey, can you laser engrave a few rocks for me, business?" So I did some rocks, and then that from her event, people fell in love with the rocks, and I started doing rocks for people, garden centers, and I was just, oh boy, I'm laser engraving rocks.
Yeah.
But that just turned into a bunch of wine glasses to one restaurant to another, and it just grew from there. And then the fire department started doing work for them, and it just grew. And then I remember it was one of the events that they had at the Chamber of Commerce, because they normally give the awards for they call it the Hero Awards.
Yeah.
Firefighter of the Year, Law Enforcement of the Year, Veteran of the Year. I remember asking if I could make a supplementary gift just for the Veteran of the Year. I wasn't a member of the chamber yet. And I said, listen, I don't want to take anybody's place. I don't know what you do. I just want to supply something to the veteran that you provide. They're sure.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of that. And it just went north from there.
Yeah.
The company just expanded. It grew up, and just currently that's my bread and butter, as long as my retirement and everything else. So,
yeah. So you'll help with people like creating the image or graphic, or most people come to you with is it like their logo or something like that?
Both. A lot of people come to me like they'll say, hey, I have some groomsmen gifts. I have a gentleman with 3 watches I'm meeting with, just for something simple like that. And then I get a lot of retirement gifts. I'm doing a lot of retirement gifts. Yes, we do wood, we do stainless steel, we do brick, we do everything. Most laser engravers can all do the same stuff. We pretty much shop at all the same stores, so to speak. My niche is pretty much more wood, just because that's what everybody seems to love.
Yeah.
I mean, cutting boards galore on the holidays. I think I did about 300-400 cutting boards last year.
Crazy.
But more so like the retirement gifts, law enforcement, military, fire department, stuff like that.
Okay.
That's where the most.
I just realized something. I think did you do like the chamber golf tournament, cutting board one?
I did.
I have one of those in my house because we won that year or whatever. So I got one. Yeah.
Yep, I did those.
That's funny.
The car show, when they do the car shows around here, I did all their awards.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I do a lot of them. A lot of my stuff it's everywhere. You
Yeah.
go to some places, go to Curlew Hills, you walk in the door, my stuff is there also. Just everywhere you go, you look around, my stuff is probably somewhere around there.
Yeah. That's hilarious. All right, so one of the other things you've started, has it been maybe a year that you've had the Pinellas County Veterans Association?
Yes, just about.
Okay.
So it was funny because when I came into the Chamber of Commerce here in Palm Harbor, It was right around January where the new CEO came in, Matt, and he came on in. And,
Yeah.
Palm Harbor is a different breed because we're unincorporated.
Yeah.
And what I found out, just spending some time around the chamber, was that a lot of people were contacting the chamber just for your random stuff because we don't have a city hall. And Matt's just great because he's just answering every phone call. Like I'd be like, hey, call somebody else. And we were getting people asking questions about veteran benefits and how do I do this, where do I go? So he'd ask me, and I'm like, I couldn't really find what I wanted to find out here. So I said, why don't we have anything? He said, well, create it. So I did. So it was February, really, when I decided of last year. So the last Wednesday of February, I opened up and made an open door meeting for anyone to come down. It was a good report. We had about a dozen and a half people show up. And that was it. It was veterans. We talked. This is the beginning of it. And then the following month in March, I didn't put anything out there in the newsletters. I didn't remind anybody. I was told I should. And I was like, no, military people shouldn't need a reminder to go someplace that they want to be at. Mm-hmm. And I didn't. And then only 4 people showed up at that meeting.
Yeah.
One of them no longer exists anywhere around here anyway. I think they moved out the area.
Okay.
But the other 3 became my board members until this day, are still on the board. The original co-founders, so to speak, of the Pinellas County Veterans Association.
Cool.
Yeah. And then the mission that we had was to just be a central hub, a resource of information, and facilitate needs for veterans that have issues, whether it be veteran benefits, need some help at home, financial, whatever the case may be, mental health. But we never tried to be, our goal was never to be everything for everybody.
Yeah.
There's over 4,100 different veteran-based groups in Florida. Over 400 just in Pinellas County. There's over 150,000 vets in Pinellas County alone.
Wow.
And a lot of different organizations, a lot of different groups that I've realized. So we stay in our lane, because there's a lot of, being in this field, in this industry, we have connected with plenty of other veteran-based groups, agencies, government agencies, county-based, or just local groups on Facebook. And some people are very strong in certain departments. So when we get a request or an ask, somebody has PTSD issues, we try to do things in-house. But if I find somebody else that I have connected with, one of our collaborative partners at this point, which the list is dozens at this point, we find the expert for that one person and we streamline them directly to them. Dare I age myself by saying it's kind of like we're the Yellow Pages. For those that know what the Yellow Pages are, right? So we just try to get people the expert in their field for what they need to be effective. Yeah. Because every person's different, and sometimes they only want to deal with an Army person or an Air Force person, and we have somebody from every branch in our, like all the other organizations do. But we've referred people to, VFW 2520 in Dunedin. We've referred people to out in Oldsmar, down in Orlando. So all these other organizations out there, we just share. Collaborative partnerships for us are people that we shake hands and we just share events and share information. So our Facebook pages, our social media, they cross each other to get the word out. Somebody out there in Claremont wants us, us to kind of capture the market up here in the northern Pinellas area, throw it on our page. And if it falls on the same day as one of us having, because there were some events that overlap each other. Sure. As far as time-wise. But that doesn't bother us. We are a mission-first organization, period, no change buts. Yeah. It's mission first.
Well, it kind of reminds me, too, I think we might have talked about this when we first met, but, you're basically the connector for veterans, right? But the book, The Go-Giver, that's kind of one of their central themes is, being a connector, right, in the community or whatever. And absolutely, people come to you and you have the resources and connections to, hey, I can't help you, but I know somebody who can.
Exactly. In fact, Dunedin yesterday, Dunedin is a very military-centric town, of course. They were the first town in the state of Florida to have a Purple Heart Park. Second in the country, first in the state. And they have Dunedin has a military council by the town that's set up that they go out there.
Okay.
And I just visited them on their meeting on Wednesday, and they asked me if we knew anybody that has a bed to donate to a veteran. He's 87 years old. His wife passed last year of 63 years that they were married.
Wow.
He lost a lot of stuff during the hurricanes. In the past 4 months, he was sleeping on a cot.
Wow.
So as soon as they asked us, I said, we got this. Even if we have to go buy it, it doesn't matter. We have this. And immediately one of our board members said, dude, we have an extra bed sitting in our house. So we just went over there the very next day. 2 of our board members just threw it in their truck, went over there, set it up for him, and that was it. And the guy was ecstatically happy, because he's been living on a cot. Wow. So it's things like that, you know, just whatever we can do to help and give back. But people share their resources, and that's what it is, sharing resources. Yeah. So that's the important part.
What led you to want to start this? Is it just like it being a need for the community, or?
Specifically, yes.
Yeah.
That's the initial conversation that ever came anywhere about this was because people were actually asking. Yeah. And I didn't have an answer because me being fairly new out here, I didn't know anything myself other than the VA and the ones you would normally go to. Yeah. VFWs, and Palm Harbor doesn't have a VFW or American Legion. Okay. Yeah. So that's why I came up with it. And then by doing that, that's when I started uncovering different groups already in the area. Yeah. Tried to shake hands with a lot of them. Most of them, yes. Some of them, no. Just different missions, different things going. And like I said, we are strictly mission oriented. Mm-hmm. We don't deal with ego or optics or finances. Mm-hmm. It's a mission first only. Mm-hmm. So, and sometimes you point someone in one direction, and there's parameters for them to accept that. So we say nope, and we just put them in a better direction where there's just no resistance.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. And then, so with the association, like you guys are working on a couple of things. One of them is like you just published a book.
Yes.
Right.
So the main thing was when I sat there and said, well, if we want to truly help these veterans, first off, they have to be able to know you exist. You can't help anybody if no one knows you exist. So I know there had to be a marketing campaign. There had to be things going out there. So one of the ABS Photo and Media, he's a friend of mine, Louis Silver. He works at the Chamber, does work for them as well. We're just like-minded individuals when it comes to creativity and doing things and seeing things in a bigger picture. And we said we should have a book like this. And he started talking about it. And it's not new information. Other people have told me before, hey, you should do something like this. And sometimes it just takes that one person for you to click with.
The timing.
Exactly. It's just the timing is the timing. And we put this up in our head. We had a storyboard. We put it up the wall. And basically we sat there and said, anytime we come up with an idea, we're just, what is holding us back versus, because the short list is always what would stop you. That's the short list. Mm-hmm. So we always go with, that's it. Okay. And then we kind of reeled it back to the part where we know we can get it done. And we did. So basically we just started interviewing veterans. No age group, doesn't matter how long you served, doesn't matter if you had war stories or you're decorated or not. As long as you were honorably discharged, we would just take an interview from them. And it wasn't about like I said, the war stories. That's been done a million times over the years. It's more so about the men and women behind the uniform. What do they do in the community? Yeah. Who are you? Where you're from? What made you join the military like you asked me? How many kids you have? What did you do after the service? Mm-hmm. Sure, people sit there and expand upon their service, of course, so we do have good content. But that's completely optional. Some people don't even want to discuss it. But it's more so, veteran voices, stories, hometown heroes. You're walking around the block, kind of what you're doing now with your podcast. People get to see the people. Say, oh, I know his story now. Yeah. And it's just an opportunity for these people who have a lot inside to get it out there. Yeah. And last we checked, there weren't anybody that was doing the format like we were doing, a very interactive book where it's a QR code. You can scan it, and it gives you their full interview. So, in another 5, 10, 15 years, somebody can watch their peepaw, their father, brother, sister, whatever, and just pull the memory up, listen to their words as it was done. Mm-hmm. And, it turned out to be a much bigger thing than we thought it was going to be. We started it to be more of a benevolent reason, just to showcase some of them. We did it completely for free out of our own pockets.
Yeah.
Some of it was sponsored by veteran-owned businesses or veteran-friendly businesses. Sylvan Abbey, they came to the table, and they said, we love our veterans, we want to be part of that. And
Yeah.
a couple of other ones, Florida Firearms Academy, stuff like that, they sponsored the book. And that's how it was paid for. Make no mistake about it, it was hundreds of hours in there that we just put into this. But
how many veterans do you have in the book?
This one was 40 of them.
40.
40 of them.
So 40 interviews, and then the book themselves that has like a little write-up on the
we
pages.
condensed it to about 500 words because they have a two-page spread for them.
Okay.
And you don't have the book here probably. So.
I do have one over there.
Okay, yes. Yeah. So you open it up, there's 2 pages, picture of the veteran, about 500 words to fit the page, and then QR code, and that's it. It's a summary of their words, so you can skip through it, but it's on every platform. So it's now we're releasing one per week, just get
one interview?
One interview per week we're releasing outside of the book. So podcast, Spotify, you can look it up on there, and YouTube, look it there, and basically every single platform, the veteran voices, you can look them up and find them all.
Interesting. That's a cool idea. Yeah. And we'll link it in the description too, like if anybody wants to purchase the book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. We weren't trying to do it to sell the book, not by any means, but we didn't look at the other side, how many people would want to have it afterwards.
Yeah.
When we did the book launch over at LBC, local brewing company there on 19 in Palm Harbor, we did it. We tried to release it on Veterans Day. High goal, it wasn't going to happen. This, we said we wanted to do this starting in March, and I wanted to release it in November. Luis is very used to doing marketing when he's his home country in Brazil.
Okay.
And we started asking different people who do this stuff, and the normal range was 2 to 3, 4 years, 2 to 3 or 4 years, how long it would take to do.
Yeah.
We did it in 7 months.
Okay. Yeah.
So
you're hustling.
Yeah, we hustled on it,
yeah.
But it was a lot more challenging than we thought it was going to be. So we overlooked some things as far as like, we didn't realize how many people would want to have it for their home and their family members.
Yeah.
So when we did the big book release, the launch party at LBC, there were people wanting 10 at a time, 11 at a time, 6 at a time to give for gifts and everything else. Because we didn't even think about that. So yeah. So
cool.
We're doing it now every single year. We have a different edition. We'll be running concurrently in multiple different counties. And then we also branching off as well. It has not just the veteran voices, but now we're talking to the spouses of all the veterans. And then one for just straight female veterans. And now the fire department, we're going to create a book just for the fire department as well. They want a piece of it.
Cool.
Yeah, so it turned out to be a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I love to see that, I just love to see the community get behind something like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's neat. And then so something else you guys are working on too, is a Purple Heart Park in Palm Harbor.
Yep. That's not the end of it. Like I said, it's only not even a full year old yet. So we did that. But then we started having information and resource clinics over at the Palm Harbor Library, which we try to do it quarterly, but we get tied up. So at least 2-3 times a year we set up just to provide free information. And then late last year, I was sitting with David Eggers, commissioner, after the Purple Heart event down in Dunedin, August 7th, Purple Heart Day. And I just remember asking him, I'm like, how come we don't have one in Palm Harbor? Because I know Oldsmar has one as well.
Okay.
And there is 78, 77, I forget the exact number, other towns in the state of Florida that actually have a Purple Heart Park or monument. And that goes directly up to Congress, so you're congressionally recognized with the Military Order of Purple Heart that you're a Purple Heart town.
Yeah.
And the answer was, we don't know. So
no one's ever
done it, asked about it, so I did.
Yeah.
I asked the powers that be. I had to clear it with Parks and Rec in order to try to get a piece of property around here. We looked at a couple locations. I didn't like any of them. And then I asked around. The CSA, Nancy McKimmon, Erica Langford got us all at the table, and just between all of us, we figured out, okay. So now we got commissioned to it. We said, okay, we got the approval, and now currently we're getting, the cat came out of the bag a little bit. I didn't want to say anything until we started getting permits, but the cat snuck out the bag, and so we're putting a Purple Heart Park right at Harbor Hall, right downtown Palm Harbor.
Cool.
And that'll be this year. So as per my norm, I'm trying to get it done by August 7th. It's a tall order to get it done by August 7th because the stone that they use is not like a normal piece of granite that you can find locally here.
Okay.
It's a certain red stone that you have to get and you have to quarry it.
Okay.
So we're looking at about 4 or 5 months for us to receive that as soon as we start putting the down payment on the deposit.
Okay.
So yeah, it's going to be close. If not by August 7th, then August itself is Purple Heart month.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going for.
Where will it be by Harbor Hall?
So right there at the corner of, what's that, 11th and Georgia?
Yeah.
11th and Georgia. Harbor Hall, there's the utilities right there at the corner.
Okay.
Right where they normally put the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So on that same piece of grass that goes east towards the parking lot entrance.
Yeah.
Right at the end where the parking lot entrance is.
Oh, cool.
So basically we have 2 parking spots there. That part they're trying to just get approved, which is not going to be a problem. Sure, shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But it's going to be right there in the corner. It's
Okay.
If you've been to the one in Dunedin, it's going to be slightly smaller because the one in Dunedin, as far as from the pavers to the retaining wall they have and everything else,
Yeah.
I remember it was like 12 by 24, and we have 17 by 42 space over there. So it's going to be a little smaller replica of what they have in Dunedin. The monument is the monument. That's not going to change.
Okay.
But the actual retaining brick wall and stuff like that, the pavers, of course, we're going to be able to have pavers available for people to purchase, of course, just so they can, help with the growth of that and put Purple Heart recipients' names in there as well.
Oh, cool.
So this way we can actually now have Palm Harbor as up in congressional record, and Palm Harbor will be a Purple Heart town.
Yeah.
And give us an actual destination place for someone to look up, say, hey, let's come over here for this reason.
Yeah.
Because that's something Palm Harbor's been missing. Other than Palm Harbor Fest that they have going on, there's really not anything around here for people to come here on purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of people go to Dunedin for that stuff. So.
Yeah. So the only other cities in Pinellas County that have a Purple Heart Park is Dunedin and Oldsmar.
Right.
And so the Palm Harbor will be the third one.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty neat.
Now they have a Purple Heart Road trail that Father Bob Swick was able to put together. And he was the one that started the Florida Veterans Coalition, which is I think the second or third name of it at this point. After 20-something years, they created it. But he was the one that was pretty much responsible for the entire. I always say it's Gulf to Bay. Was that like 60, I believe?
Yeah,
60.
60.
I'm still trying to learn it.
Yeah.
That's actually a Purple Heart Trail, I believe.
Oh, so like that road itself is Purple Heart Trail.
If I have that correct.
Yeah.
If I have it correct. So, obviously, again, Dunedin people, they're very military centric.
Yeah.
They have their own council in their town, everything else. But we're unincorporated. So, again, it's good and it's bad. It's good because we can move things around a little faster, but, getting support is sometimes a little tougher.
Yeah, it is interesting that Palm Harbor is unincorporated, right? But it seems like there's, like everything that you're doing, everything that we're doing with the Main Street organization and other business owners are down here, it seems like there's a lot of momentum for Palm Harbor, for the growth of Palm Harbor and creating things for the community and that sort of stuff. So it's really cool to see. And then
I really like that, by the way, because, we've talked before, and, you and I are alike at the point where we always got to go from a place of abundance versus scarcity.
Yeah.
Always abundance over scarcity mindset, right?
Yeah.
And all ships rise with the tide. And it seems like you said, that's what it just seems like. The buzz around town just seems like there's more activity, more people doing things together to try to bring it out there.
Right. And like we're all working in the same direction almost, right?
Correct.
Even though it might not be working on the same thing, but it's like I think the community wants Palm Harbor to be something more so than what it is.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started identifying, I know that there was a certain population that says, don't Dunedin our Palm Harbor. And then there's another part of the population that says, well, we want to bring people
something,
here.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the thing? St. Pete, that they have Visit St. Pete.
Yeah.
It's about the bed tax, everything else. They just want to how can we bring people to this destination? So
Yeah.
I see the push is to do that, to bring something here. So I said, well, why not start with something big?
Yeah.
You know.
And it's even like Safety Harbor too. I know there's a lot of pushback on like some of the developments in downtown Safety Harbor,
from
but
what I
it's
heard.
like, like that's a beautiful spot to go and
Mm-hmm.
hang out on Main Street and stuff there in Safety
Exactly.
Harbor. And it would be cool to, like, I get like keeping it a quiet town or whatever, but I mean, we're in Pinellas County, like it's almost like the growth is going to happen.
Right.
You know?
It's only a matter of time.
Right.
So you can be part of it or
Yeah.
watch it go by.
And I always fall back to the mindset of like, if you're not growing, you're dying, and like
Yes.
personally, right? So it's like
Yes.
the same thing with like your area. Like if your city is not growing, then people aren't going to want to come here and spend money, and like quality of life is going to be different.
100%.
You know,
Everything
so
you said is exactly right.
Yeah.
It's all connected, because if people don't come here,
yeah,
and you don't have money injected into here, then there's not much more that'll happen. It's easier, like you said, for it to go on a decline than on an incline.
and that affects. I mean, that affects everybody, right? Not
Yes.
just like the businesses, but it affects like home values. It affects all of that,
Absolutely.
right? So
100%.
it's all tied together. Something else, I was just thinking about this, like the amount of stuff that you've done in 1 year
Yeah.
with the association is just crazy. So, and you still run a business. I don't know how you have time for all that, but
I could tell you.
but the Hero Fest,
Yes,
right?
that's
So
another
that's the first one
That's the
that's
other
coming
thing.
up
Yeah.
coming to Palm Harbor.
So Palm Harbor Hero Fest. So that was the other thing. We looked around, and this was happening just before Main Street came back on board.
Okay.
Before it was development, because we were looking at one of the board meetings at the chamber, because I sit on the board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce as well. So we were talking about they were looking to see what we can fill in the blank, the space between the golf tournament and the Christmas stuff up until Palm Harbor Fest, which is April. So there's kind of a lot of dead area in there. And then I looked around. I was asking Matt, and I was at the president, and I was like, well, what about Memorial Day? And I was like, oh, let's not do Memorial Day, because you have Hero Fest. I mean, you have Honor Fest down in Clearwater. But it says, what can we do around here? And then I said, well, let's celebrate and honor, everybody, all the heroes around here. Because the title of our book is Hometown Heroes. So why don't we just celebrate the hometown heroes some more? And we brought in basically the fire department, Palm Harbor Fire Rescue, and the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department. And why not honor and take care of the people that literally are the backbone of this community?
Yeah.
We had the hurricanes. They were the heroes of this community. I mean, I'll be honest with you, when the first hurricane hit last year, I was in the road. I was out there 13 days in a row, nonstop. Me and my wonder dog, Molly, were out there every day. I would pin my location, put it out there, and say, everyone, dawn upon me.
Yeah.
Chicken salad chick. I just went up there. That's the first time I literally connected with them and say, hey, listen, can you provide us with sandwiches so we can give? They're like, how much? I go, as many as you can give us.
Wow.
And to my surprise, didn't know Paul Raw was, like, everyone knows him, didn't know he was a veteran, didn't know Sarah Strickler, the whole nine, and they just gave me bags after bags, and we just went out and helped out everybody, and it was really good to see everyone just show up.
Yeah.
Like, just like that. And I said, there's something within this community. That's when I really realized what this community can be, or what it is. You just maybe have to blow the dust off it or something.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned a long time ago, we kind of touched base on this before, people will follow people if they know where they're going and how they're going to get there. Sometimes they just need that one person to,
Take the
rub
lead
two
on
sticks
it.
together
Right.
and go for it. And ultimately, so the Hero Fest, that's happening on May 17th. Didn't want to invade on Memorial Day. That's strictly for veterans.
Yeah.
So we wanted to keep it within May, because that is kind of a veteran-friendly month, kind of like November. So right now it's kind of a three-headed monster. Not kind of, it is. It's a three-headed monster. It's three events built into one. I sat with the powers that be at the fire department, the big house at 65. Talked with them, some of the sheriffs, and said, we want to honor you. So however you would normally hold an event, I want you to just hold it on this day in this area. Mm-hmm. So basically we're going to have the fire department in one section, going to have the sheriffs in another section, and us taking care of all the veterans on the 3rd. So it's a cloverleaf type style.
Yeah.
And we're going to have 3 bands. We have Crossfire Creek is headlining. Then we have a couple other ones prior to them.
Okay.
Starts at 12 o'clock, runs till Palm Harbor says no, which is 10 p.m. And the bands will start right around that 1 o'clock area. Of course, we have a lot of other things going to be happening. So the sheriffs are going to already been approved, so I can actually say it. But they're going to come down with the K9 unit and their MRAP, the armored vehicle, cruiser. The fire department's going to do a touch of truck, probably most likely. I don't know if it's official yet, but most likely they're going to be doing the extrication unit show over there. So it's going to be a family fun event. Up over towards a little bit closer towards Omaha Circle. It's going to be more so the kids zone, the education area.
Okay.
Make it a little bit more family friendly over there. Face painters, food trucks.
Yeah.
And then a little closer, obviously, to downtown will be, Crafty Brew, LBC, Devine. They're all participating at that. Of course, the stage will be right around there also. So it's going to be a great time. Krabby Bill's just opened up. Yay.
Yeah.
So we're gracefully worked out with them. They're going to be using their upper deck, their crow's nest up there.
Yeah.
We're using that as the VIP section up there. We have a couple little special things and guests, little celebrities that are going to be up there that I'm not going to mention yet.
So VIP, is that like you got to buy like a VIP ticket?
Yeah,
Is that
there'll
how
be
that
a
works?
ticket available
Okay.
to purchase for up there. So this way you don't have to deal with anything. Just stay up there. The ticket comes with food and drink and whatnot. And it's just a different experience. It's just for one price, you're up there and you have everything that you need. And like I said, some people we're going to be putting up there. There's going to be other special opportunities for people who are in the VIP area.
Yeah.
Some people might be signing some jerseys and doing giveaways and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That'll be cool. I mean, I'm just thinking like for Palm Harbor, and we just don't have anything like that where you can sit up there and watch the stage and that sort of stuff at night. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this the first event you've put on?
Yeah.
First time you've done that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like so, and I was asked by the chamber, so have you done one before? What do you know about events? I'm like, what do I need to know?
Yeah.
I mean, I have an idea and I have passion. That's all.
Right. Yeah.
And you surround yourself with people who are better than you, right? So
Yeah.
The team that I put together are people who are always there's a few of them together, but one of them is an Alignment Collective. They're known for everything from weddings to, working with Iron Man, doing stuff for them forever, and also being able to do multi-million-dollar trade shows across the country. So they know their stuff, but maybe a little bit short on doing street closure events in smaller towns. So then I went ahead and grabbed some people, car shows for charity, people like that who actually sit there, who have that knowledge, along with the knowledge from the chamber, direction from the CEO, Matt. So I just got people who were smarter than me, who lived in that world, and I just provided the vision and a little bit of what I would like.
Yeah.
AVS Media, he's a guru when it comes to this type of stuff as far as promoting and videos and whatnot. So there's a lot of videos that are going to be dropping very soon. We have literally a full movie trailer that's coming out with it.
Cool.
It's a lot happening with that. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of really experienced people in town that everyone knows that are putting together to make this happen.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it worked out really well. Once people start seeing the vision and understand why we're doing this, people want to help.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to. It's really a lot easier for me than I would have expected because no one's out trying to get the spotlight. It's again, no ego, nothing like that. It's just mission first. If you get a lot of people aligned with the same mission, then anything's possible. It really is.
Yeah. And just going back to like what we were talking about, the community, right? Like people want to be involved and help out in any way they can. And just like we've experienced with the Main Street, like people are showing up for that too.
Yes.
And it's fun to see. So May 17th.
May 17th, it's a Saturday, the weekend before Memorial Day. So the snowbirds, some people who will be traveling around, they're already going to be here anyways.
Yeah.
People who have time off are already going to have it. They're already into that mode because Memorial Day is coming around. We're going to have a radio station there. The news coverage is going to be there. Everybody's everything's falling into places where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And you have vendor spots available too. So if any businesses are interested in being a vendor.
Yeah, just go to palmharborherofest.com. Palmharborherofest.com. Right on there, there's the vendor applications, sponsorship deck. The whole thing is on there. They can look at anything they need to. Multiple different sponsorship opportunities. Everything down from the kids zone up to, title sponsor, stage sponsor, VIP, stuff like that. So
Okay.
a lot of them are already coming in, between Fran Hash, of course. Their name is everywhere.
Yeah.
Curlew Hills, Keenan, we love them over there, of course. Florida Firearms Academy. These type of people are already starting to sponsor.
Yeah.
They were
Awesome.
just the first adapters, to get on it. When people see something as valuable, they want to be on top of it right away.
Mm-hmm.
So, we definitely want as much help as humanly possible. We want the community to come out and support it, of course, because, again, don't lose sight of what this is for. It's the ones that when your house burns down, you lose everything, fire department comes out with their foundation and they supply you with things. And all proceeds, 100% of all proceeds that we get are going to each of the department's foundations and charities.
Cool.
So the fire department has their own charities. We have a sponsorship package just for the fire department. So if someone doesn't want to deal with anything else, but they love firemen, they can sponsor just the fire department section. And then that percentage goes directly to their foundation.
Cool.
Same thing with the sheriff's department, same thing with us. We have two different, since we don't have a foundation ourselves, we are a 501c3 nonprofit charity.
Yeah.
But we don't have a foundation, so we're taking the Red Star Foundation, we're taking a few other ones, and we're donating money to them as well.
Okay.
So all proceeds go back to helping out the town directly.
Cool.
So this way, this money goes directly back into the town, directly to support all the people in the community.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win all the way around.
Yeah. No excuses to be involved, right?
Absolutely.
Show up, have a good time.
Oh, unless you hate veterans, police, and fire departments, right? And you're not a community person.
Yeah. All right. So one last question: how can people? What's the best way for people to get in touch with you about laser engraving and your business there?
Well, veteranlaserworks.com.
Perfect.
I'm on Google. I have 5-star reviews all the way through. You can pretty much find me anywhere. You can almost always find me at the Chamber of Commerce in Palm Harbor. I'm an ambassador there as well, so that's almost my second home because, again, it's right in the middle of the community, and that's where I stay. So that's kind of where I operate. One of the benefits of the Chamber is you utilize that as an office space. So that's how pretty much you can always find me. Either go through website or go onto social media and go find the account there for Veteran Laserworks. Laserworks is LASERWORX. Okay, just a little twist. Laserworks.
Yeah.
And then same thing with the Pinellas County Veterans Association. We have Pinellas County Veterans Association.org.
Okay.
We meet at the last Wednesday of every single month at the Chamber of Commerce at 12 noon. It's an open door policy. People have come in, they've asked us to, help out with them, or they just want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Real quick, the other thing that we have done because somebody walked into us, we had Carrie Whitfield from Highland Lakes. She's the event coordinator there for them, Highland Lakes Assisted Living Facility. And they started to create a little wall of honor.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't work out too well as far as, if you're listening, sorry, but it was like a Hobby Lobby thing that they did.
Yeah.
So she just asked if we could help out to do make it more honorable. And our board of directors, normally we look over things, we talk about it, a month later we come back and deliberate, and it was a no-brainer for us. We immediately jumped on it, and we made this 31-foot gorgeous wall called Wall of Honor. We handcrafted everything. It made a full page ahead in the Beacon and whatnot, and we're now doing Walls of Honor for Meese Life. So St. Mark's is on the list, so
nice.
It's another mission we do. We go out there just create Walls of Honor. So
yeah,
so that's how you can find us.
What is next?
Who knows? We'll figure it out. But
by
the time we talk next, I guarantee you there's something else that'll be on the list.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's incredible.
God gives us energy for only so long, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to be used up and dried up, and I want to use everything I can. And when I'm 70, I want to sit back and say, yep, I helped to do this. And that's really what I'm doing it for, just to have a legacy, get some roots, and say, hey, Palm Harbor's on the map in Congress and everything else. So,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Love my community.
And we'll have, if anybody's interested, we'll have like the links and all that in the description below. So if anybody can check those out. But yeah, man, David, appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you having me.
Thanks for your service too.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for being worth it.
Yeah.
That's what you told me. Just thanks for being worth it.
Yeah, love that.
It's really tough when, I will say this one last piece though. It's exactly what I was going to, reminded me of Harry Beck. Harry Beck's 92?
Wow.
91, 92 years old. He resides over at Highland Lake Assisted Living Facility. When we did the book release, he was sitting in the front row with his wife. And when we were all done, I don't know if you remember that part in Forrest Gump when he was getting ready to stand. They brought him up to talk about the Vietnam War. They unplugged everything. When they plugged it back in, he was like, "That's all I got to say about the Vietnam War."
Yeah.
So he said, "Can I say something?" And by the time I got up to him with the microphone, he was done.
Oh, yeah.
But the people that heard him in the front that were all there, he was saying, and this is the sad part, unfortunately. He's like, "It's things like this that made all the dirt, all the screaming, all that stuff worth it." Because Vietnam, they weren't the most popular veterans when they came back home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that translates into 42 years. This guy, this is where you know our country failed these people. 42, 44 years, whatever it was. He sat back, however many years, right? That he sat back and he dealt with everything he dealt with, and he never felt like it was worth it.
Yeah.
Never felt like it was worth it. And then when we did that Wall of Honor, and then we celebrated them with this book, he cried and he said, "It's worth it."
Wow.
That alone, all of us were just like,
Gives you
like I feel it now when I'm saying it. All of us are like, damn, you don't realize the impact that you have until you do.
Yeah.
So,
and imagine just like his, just his life and what that did for him in that moment,
Exactly.
Wow.
So, yeah, so that's what I wanted to add with that. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.